Good morning, students. Welcome to your general science class. Today we are going to start chapter number 8, that is sound and noise. Now before we start, there's an activity given. Let's warm up. Let's go through that first. Tick the pictures of the object which produce a pleasant sound. So first you'll see number of cars there. This traffic gives you a pleasant sound? A pleasant sound is which makes you relaxed, or which you want to listen again and again, right? So the sound of the cars on a big traffic or a congested road, do you like that? No, it is not a pleasant sound. Second, the sound of a flute. The sound of a flute is very pleasant and relaxing. So yes, this is a pleasant sound. Next is a type of a machine. This machine will also not give you a pleasant sound. Next is the guitar. Yes, guitar will give you a pleasant sound. So now let's start the reading. Sound is something that produces the sensation of hearing in our ears. On our ears, we are able to hear because of the presence of the sound. If there is no sound, we will not be able to hear anything. We hear different sounds produced by living beings and non-living things. The sounds can be produced by living things as well as by the non-living things. We can recognize some sounds even without seeing the things, right? Even we are not looking at the things, but we can still recognize the sound, like the sound of your mother, sound of your father, so your brother, your sister, right? Sound of a dog, sound of a cat, sound of a cow. Some animals also we can recognize very easily with their sounds, right? So we can recognize people, we can recognize things with the help of the sound also, even though we are not able to see them, but we can recognize with the sound. Same way, we can also recognize animals by the sounds made by them. There's a try it yourself, an activity given where you have to sit in groups with your friends or your family members. Sit in groups with them. Close your eyes and ask one person to make different types of sounds of different animals. You have to mimic the animal sounds, and the other person has to recognize that which animal sound you are producing. So this is a game you can play with your friends or your family members at home. Sound is also produced by trees and fallen leaves. You might have heard the sound of the trees. When the wind is blowing, tree also produce some sound. When the leaves are falling, they also produce some sound. There's a fact given then. All vibrating bodies produce some sound. The bodies which are vibrating, which are moving up and down, or which are having some type of motion, they will produce a sound. Now there are different types of sounds. Some of the sounds are called warning sounds. Let's read what are the warning sounds. Some vehicle produce typical sounds that warn us to give way to them. Like vehicles like ambulance and fire engines give typical warning sounds as they need to reach a particular place like the hospital or a place on fire at the earliest, right? That's why ambulance is always having different types of sound system installed. Same way fire engines also have some sound system installed in them, which produces a sound or warns people to give them ways, because they have to reach to the places at the earliest where they are needed in emergency, right? We must make way for them if we are not on the road, right? We have to give them way so that they can reach to the desired destination as the earliest. Next is types of sound. Now we have learned about sound till now. There are two types of sound. Some are pleasant sounds and some are unpleasant sounds. Now what are the pleasant sounds? Sounds which are very pleasant to the ears are called pleasant sounds. For example, the sound produced by different musical instruments, that is very pleasant. The sound in the nature, like the sound of the waterfall, that is also very pleasant to hear. Then the birds chirping around us in the morning. If you wake up early, you hear the chirping of the birds. That is also very relaxing and pleasant to the ears. So we can say music is a melodious sound which creates a pleasant sensation to the ears, which creates or soothes us, or which makes us relax. That type of music or that type of sound is called a pleasant sound. Next is an unpleasant sound. Sounds which are not pleasant to the ears are called unpleasant sounds. For example, the children making noise or indiscipline in the class, that is a type of an unpleasant sound. Then the traffic, number of cars and honking and horns again and again in the traffic, that is again not a pleasant sound. Then yes, the rocket launchers, rockets are being launched, they also produce lot of sound that is also not very pleasant to the ear. So we can say noise is an unpleasant sound which is unwanted and create annoyance and pain for us, right? So any type of noise is called an unpleasant sound. Noise pollution. Noise pollution is the disturbance produced in the environment by loud and harsh sounds from various sources. For example, the sources of noise pollutions we can say are industries, because there are a number of factories, there are a number of instruments installed there and they produce a lot of noise. Vehicular traffic, in a traffic where lots of vehicles are moving and there is a traffic jam, there are lots of horns being honked again and again, and people are talking and fighting with each other, that is also a very noisy place. Then household equipments like kitchen appliances like mixie, vacuum cleaners, etc., they also do not produce a very pleasant sound. They also produce a noise which creates noise pollution. Now, harmful effects of noise pollution. It distracts people and reduce concentration. Does not let people to concentrate on their work because of lot of noise. Then leads to tiredness and fatigue. If a person is continuously in an environment where there is a lot of noise around him or her, it will lead to tiredness and fatigue. It adds to the existing tensions in the life, which causes short temperedness and blood pressure, because one person is already in tension and there is a lot of noise around him, that will create and adds up to the tensions and create lot of short temperedness. People will The person will feel short temperedness and his blood pressure will also rise. It can cause temporary or permanent deafness in people who work for a long time in noisy places. In noisy places, some people are working where there is a lot of noise, like in factories where there are a lot of noise. So those people may have permanent or temporary deafness because of the noisy place. Now, how we can reduce noise pollution? We know that these days noise pollution is increasing and we need to do something to reduce that. Now, what can we do? Silencing devices must be used in aircraft engine, kitchen appliances, industrial machines, etc. We should try, or the scientists should work more on making more of silencing devices, so that the sound produced by aircraft engines or kitchen appliances or industrial machines should be reduced. Use loudspeakers for far from residential areas and hospitals. Near the hospitals or residential areas, loudspeakers should not be allowed, because loudspeakers produce lot of noise. So the person who are sick, they might not feel good. And if it is near the residential areas also, there is also the same problem. There might be people who do not like loud noise, so that's why they should be restricted to be played near the residential areas or the hospitals. The minimum use of vehicle horns. We should not press the horn unnecessarily. Even if it is very 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 necessary, then we should honk the horn. Otherwise we should avoid. TV, radio and music systems must be played at low volumes. Plant trees as they absorb sound. People working in noisy area must wear earplugs so that they should save their ears from uh, permanent deafness. Now your homework is to read chapter number 8. Complete chapter we have already done. So read it yourself thoroughly and learn the new words which are given on page number 60. Right, students? Thank you.